Coconut oil is one of the most used natural products on the planet, supporting a global industry worth billions and powering everything from cooking and skincare to soaps and packaged foods. Every year, the world produces millions of tons of it, and in some regions, people consume several kilograms per person because it's built into their daily life. What makes this oil so trusted and valuable is the long journey it takes before reaching a jar or bottle. With so much demand and so many uses, the real mystery becomes this: how does a single coconut turn into one of the world's most relied-on oils? Well, we will uncover the entire process here at the Process World. Coconut oil has been part of human life for thousands of years, long before factories and steel machines ever got involved. The earliest use traces back to coastal regions of Southeast Asia and the Pacific, where coconuts grew everywhere and communities learned how valuable they were. People cooked with the oil, used it on their skin and hair, treated wounds with it, and even burned it in lamps. Every part of the coconut had a purpose, so it quickly became known as a tree of life in many cultures. As trade routes formed, merchants carried coconuts and dried coconut kernel, what we now call copra, across oceans. That movement turned coconut oil into a global product, especially during the 1800s when the world needed stable oils for soap, food, and industry. The interesting part is that even with all the modern machinery we use today, the core idea hasn't changed. Take the rich white meat of a mature coconut and turn it into something useful. The factories only perfected the speed, safety, and scale. But how do they do it? Well, before we get into that, please leave a like and subscribe for more amazing videos like this one. Now moving on. Coconut oil begins its journey long before it reaches any machine. It starts in warm, coastal regions where coconut palms grow year-round. Farmers wait for the fruit to reach full maturity, checking the color and firmness to know when it's ready. Once the timing is right, workers climb the tall palms or use long poles to bring the coconuts down safely. When the fruits hit the ground, the real preparation begins. The first step is husking. The coconut's outer layer is thick and tough, so workers use a metal spike fixed into the ground to pry it open. This exposes the hard brown shell, which is cracked carefully to keep the white kernel inside as clean and whole as possible. The kernels are then sorted. Anything that looks spoiled, discolored, or damaged is removed. Only clean, healthy pieces move forward because this early inspection affects everything that happens next. At this point, the factory chooses the path based on the type of oil they want to produce. The kernel either goes to the copra line, where it will be dried for refined oil, or to the fresh processing line, where it will become virgin coconut oil. This decision marks the divide between two very different production styles. In this stage, the focus is on moisture removal because water is the biggest threat to oil quality during storage. Workers cut the fresh kernel into smaller pieces, then spread them out on drying racks or trays. Sun drying is common in some regions, while larger factories use hot air dryers or smoke dryers to create controlled, even drying conditions. As the moisture drops, the kernel becomes lighter, firmer, and slightly brown. At around 6% moisture, it officially becomes copra. In this form, it can be stored for weeks without spoiling, which is essential for factories running large batches. Many facilities also receive copra from farming cooperatives located miles away, so durability matters. But before entering the main processing line, the dried pieces are inspected again. Any copra showing signs of mold or excess browning is removed. This ensures the expellers and refining equipment work smoothly and consistently. Copra may look simple, but it's the foundation of refined coconut oil, stable, transportable, and ready for industrial-scale extraction. On the other hand, the virgin coconut oil route takes a completely different approach. Here, freshness is everything. As soon as the kernels arrive from sorting, workers wash them thoroughly to remove sand, fibers, or dirt. The washed kernels then go straight into shredding machines. These machines grate the coconut into fine pieces within minutes, and the process has to move quickly because fresh coconut can spoil if left sitting too long. Once grated, the coconut enters one of two extraction paths. The first is the fresh-dry method, where the grated meat receives gentle drying to remove only a small amount of moisture. It stays soft and aromatic, ready for pressing. The factory then feeds it into a mechanical expeller designed to work at controlled temperatures. This produces a clean, fragrant oil with minimal processing. The second path uses coconut milk extraction. The grated coconut is pressed to release thick milk containing oil, water, and natural solids. Factories then separate the oil using tools such as centrifuges, fermentation tanks, controlled heat, or enzymes. Each method aims to release pure oil while preserving the natural aroma. Once the oil separates, it goes through fine filtration. Nothing is bleached, refined, or deodorized, keeping the final product as close as possible to the fresh kernel. This gentle handling is what gives virgin coconut oil its recognizable scent and reputation for purity. Once the copra reaches the processing floor, the whole factory picks up speed. Conveyor belts carry the dried coconut pieces toward the milling machines, and the first stop is a magnetic separator. This device removes any stray metal fragments that might have slipped in during drying or transport, protecting both the equipment and the oil. From there, the copra enters heavy crushing machines that break it into smaller, workable chunks. Breaking it down increases the surface area and prepares it for the next stage, flaking or milling. Some factories use flaking rollers that press the copra into thin, even layers. Others use hammer mills that grind it into finer, uniform fragments. Each facility chooses the method that matches the design of its expeller system. Flaking plays a major role in how efficiently the oil comes out later. Thin, consistent pieces allow the press to apply even pressure. Some factories lightly warm the flakes at this stage. This helps loosen the natural fats inside the copra and improves extraction efficiency. Technicians monitor everything closely: flake texture, conveyor speed, temperature, and machine performance. Even small changes can influence the oil yield. By the time the copra leaves the milling section, it is uniform, clean, and conditioned for the next step. This stage is the core of refined coconut oil production. The conditioned copra enters a long metal expeller press fitted with a rotating screw. As the screw turns, it moves the copra through a narrowing chamber, increasing pressure steadily. That pressure squeezes the natural oil out of the flakes, and the crude oil flows into stainless steel collection troughs beneath the machine. Inside the press, conditions become intense. The screw runs continuously, forcing out more oil with each rotation. The crude oil appears slightly cloudy at this point because it still carries tiny bits of fiber and natural solids. Those will be removed later during refining. What's left after pressing is a firm, compressed material called copra cake. It travels down a separate conveyor for cooling and bagging. This cake is rich in protein and fiber, so it becomes animal feed for cattle, goats, and other livestock. In agricultural regions, it's a valuable byproduct. The expeller section usually runs around the clock. Operators check temperature gauges, pressure levels, and oil output to keep everything consistent. Any change in the flake thickness or moisture level can affect performance, so active supervision keeps the process stable. By the end of this step, the factory has its main product, crude coconut oil. But even after pressing, the copra cake still holds a noticeable amount of oil. To prevent unnecessary losses, large factories use a secondary method called solvent extraction. This approach helps recover the last portion of oil that mechanical pressing can't remove. The process starts with breaking the copra cake into smaller pieces. These pieces enter closed extraction tanks where a food-grade solvent, commonly hexane, flows through them. The solvent dissolves the remaining oil and carries it out of the cake. Once the solvent is saturated, it moves into an evaporator system. Heat removes the solvent from the mixture, leaving clean, recovered oil behind. The solvent vapor is then cooled, condensed, and reused in the next round. Throughout this stage, safety is a priority. Operators monitor pressure, temperature, and flow to keep the solvent fully contained. Modern systems are designed to prevent exposure and maintain a controlled environment. Once the oil is recovered, it joins the main batch of crude oil headed toward the refining line. The leftover material becomes defatted copra meal, which is extremely dry and widely used as livestock feed. Solvent extraction ensures the factory produces as much oil as possible while reducing waste and making full use of every coconut processed. Once all the crude coconut oil is collected, both from the expeller and the solvent extraction line, it moves into the refining stage. This is where the oil gets cleaned, purified, and prepared for everyday use in kitchens and food factories. Crude coconut oil naturally contains tiny bits of fiber, free fatty acids, and compounds that affect color and smell. Refining removes these elements so the oil becomes clear, stable, and neutral in flavor. The first step is called degumming or neutralization. The crude oil enters large steel tanks where it's gently mixed with a safe alkaline solution. This removes free fatty acids and natural gums that could affect the oil's shelf life. After this cleaning stage, the oil is washed and dried to remove any leftover moisture. Next comes bleaching. The oil passes through bleaching tanks filled with activated clay or carbon. These materials absorb pigments and impurities that cause the oil to look darker. As the oil moves through the system, it becomes lighter and more uniform. Workers monitor temperature and flow rates carefully to maintain quality. The used bleaching material is filtered out, leaving the oil clearer and cleaner. The final stage is deodorizing. This is where the strong coconut scent is removed using steam distillation. The oil is heated under a controlled vacuum while steam passes through it. The steam carries away volatile compounds responsible for the aroma. Deodorizing gives refined coconut oil its familiar neutral smell, which makes it suitable for high-heat cooking and for food manufacturers who need an oil that doesn't change the flavor of their products. After deodorizing, the oil is cooled and passed through fine filters one more time. It becomes bright, clear, and stable, ready for bottling. On the other hand, virgin coconut oil moves through a much simpler path than refined oil, and that simplicity is what makes it special. Once the fresh coconut meat is grated, the factory chooses the extraction method based on the equipment they use. The most common approach is expeller pressing. The grated coconut enters a press designed to apply moderate pressure without high heat. As the press operates, the oil begins to flow out in a smooth, steady stream. The aroma is naturally fragrant because nothing is treated or altered. This oil is collected in clean stainless steel containers and kept away from air and moisture to protect its quality. Another major method is the coconut milk route. The grated meat is pressed to release thick, white coconut milk. This milk holds the natural oil, water, and tiny coconut solids all mixed together. The challenge is separating the pure oil from everything else. Factories solve this by using centrifuges that spin at high speed. The force separates the layers, and the oil collects at the top. Some facilities rely on controlled fermentation, where the milk rests for several hours and naturally separates into layers. Others use carefully regulated heat or enzymes to help the separation happen more efficiently. No matter which method the factory uses, the final goal is to recover clean oil without any chemical refining. After separation, the oil passes through fine filters to remove tiny residues. Workers check the clarity, aroma, and moisture levels to make sure every batch meets quality standards. Since virgin coconut oil isn't bleached or deodorized, the natural smell stays intact. This is why it has a stronger coconut scent compared to refined oil. The final product is clear, smooth, and aromatic. It carries the original qualities of the fresh kernel, and the entire process focuses on keeping those qualities alive. Virgin coconut oil production is all about gentle handling, careful timing, and maintaining purity at every step. This stage is where the product finally starts to look like something a customer would pick off a shelf. Inside the factory, the refined or virgin coconut oil flows from large stainless steel storage tanks into the filling area through clean, sealed pipelines to keep it protected from dust and air. Factories use automated filling machines that measure the exact amount of oil for each container. The type of container depends on the market. Some factories fill glass jars because they keep the natural aroma intact and appeal to buyers who prefer recyclable packaging. Others use PET or HDPE plastic bottles, which are lighter, more affordable, and easier to transport. In regions where small daily use packs are popular, the oil is filled into plastic pouches or sachets. Every option is designed to keep the oil stable, clean, and easy to use. After filling, the containers move down a conveyor to the sealing section. Jars get metal lids, bottles get heat-sealed caps, and pouches get airtight seals that prevent leaks. Once sealed, the containers head to labeling. Labels carry important details like batch number, manufacturing date, nutritional information, and storage instructions. These labels also help track each batch in case the factory needs to trace it for quality checks later. The final stop is packaging for transport. Workers pack the finished containers into cartons or crates, stack them on pallets, and wrap them securely. This protects the oil during shipping, whether it's traveling across town or to another country. Some factories also prepare bulk packaging, large drums or IBC tanks, especially for cosmetic companies, food manufacturers, or international buyers who use coconut oil as an ingredient. So, after watching the entire process, which type of coconut oil do you think deserves the spotlight more? Refined oil or virgin oil? Comment down below, leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more amazing videos like this one.